Hello everybody, my name is Strawberryna. And I am here to react to some of your suggestions as discussed on the last stream pretty much. And my cat is obviously very interested because I started talking. You bitch, you leave me alone for the entire day and then you come around only when I start talking to the microphone. Did he move the camera or whatever? I'm just gonna leave it. I don't care. Let me see. Stop! Man, you're making the oh, you're so cute. You're making the whole thing wobbly. Okay, now I have the chat here. Wouldn't be a cat without some sixth sense to be inconvenient. Ain't that the fucking truth, brother? Amen. It's crazy how dogs have like that sixth sense to come and cheer you up when you're not feeling too well. And cats are exactly the opposite. They always know what to do and when to make you like the most inconvenienced. I need to find like a... I really need to find a way to like look at the chat easier. Would be cool to have like one of those things you put in your car to look at the um to look at your navigation. Just have it like off to the left here, so I can like really quickly pick up the chat. Because now I have to like look down and it's behind this arm of the microphone. A little while ago, I was playing a card game at a house with a cat. The cat didn't bother us before we started. As soon as we played, it lay down on the cards we were putting down. That's peak cat behavior. I remember I had once I had my friends over and doesn't YouTube have a chat pop-up you can put anywhere? I have no idea, to be honest. But to be fair, putting a pop-up would, like, because I'm operating on a single monitor setup. If I had two monitors, I mean I have two monitors, but one of them I gave to my girlfriend for her setup. If I had two monitors set up, like it also would be like really easy to read the chat. If I had a pop-up, it would like possibly obscure the what I'm seeing on the monitor, and that's not ideal. To be fair, there are a lot of like ways to there are a lot of ways to mend that issue. I just don't treat this streaming thing like too seriously, uh, because like obviously I'm a fucking small time. Like I basically did this in my free time, but yeah, I will definitely get over that hurdle if this ever becomes like way more serious. And yeah, I was playing like poker with my friends that I had over, and every single time one of us stood up and went to the bathroom, the cat would immediately jump on his chair and start scratching at the chips and making them fall to the floor. Such an asshole, man. Okay, so yeah, like I said, for today, let me actually put on our recording. Maybe turn off my Discord, I don't need that. Start our recording so I can have a higher quality file for the upload on YouTube, because the stream makes everything muddy for some reason. And last time you guys were spitballing ideas on what I can react to, and Rubik's Raptor and Reggie came up, so I added them. I found some like kinda recent, more popular videos of them. I think like Barotrauma by Rubik's Raptor was even mentioned specifically, and like Reggie does a lot of Warhammer, so it was bound to come up, I think. And yeah, like I watched 30 seconds of this, I think, and it was fucking funny. So yeah, I definitely need to react to this video. And then we have the standard Mandalore and Bricky combo. I had another video by Bricky about Uncharted 1 here, but since the time I added it, I played through Uncharted myself, and I don't think there is anything interesting to say about that game. Holy fuck, Uncharted is not a special game by any metric imaginable, I would say. And I know a lot of people would disagree, because Uncharted 2 is for some reason viewed as like one of the greatest games on PlayStation, which is fucking insane to me. But like I didn't grow up with it, so I don't have that nostalgia factor.
Howdy! Today we...
So yeah.
Howdy!
So yeah, we're starting off the stream today with a video by Rubik's Raptor, using nuclear weapons as eldritch gods in Barotrauma. Barotrauma is one of those games I saw a bunch of people like play, like videos were recommended to me where a bunch of people play this. I never saw the gameplay of it, and I don't know what you do in Barotrauma, really. So this might be interesting.
Today we find out what's at the center of a cosmic horror-filled ice moon. Spoiler, it's something just awful, though the real struggle seemed to be reaching the core in the first place, as the deeper we delve, the more terrifying things got. On top of that, we added more crew to our submarine.
I love the filter, and how the characters like move like dolls. I believe I seen like a couple of GIFs where that was shown. And yeah, I forgot to mention, Rubik's Raptor is a completely new content creator to me. I never watched anything of his. He was recommended by one of the chat members, so I'm checking him out for the first time ever. Just a heads up for the YouTube people later.
One of them being a clown, which you may have expected whimsical jests and fun pranks from, but in reality managed to wreak multiple acts of sabotage and general criminal activity upon
Okay, right off the rip, this just sounds like Space Station 13, but with more sophisticated animations, I guess.
Our vessel. That does it for me. I highly recommend you make it to the end of this one, and I will see you around. What have you done, bruh? What is happening in the ship?
What's that noise?
Throw him in the ballast tank. That was not a rubber slug. That did not look like rubber. I saw buckshot. He's alright.
Come to ballast A.
Oh, I wonder what's in ballast A.
Wait a second. We should be fine.
Without
Oh, there's a mollusk! Mollusk, bottom right! Get back in the ship!
I'm Benny Brown. I'm sorry. You were. What's your fire? We got a friendly out there.
Save it, Private Clown. Ooh, 2 mollusks.
So it's like so it's like a submarine simulator with eldritch beings. Gotcha. And obviously the co-op is the big part.
A second mollusk, bottom left. Please just stop for a second. I'm at the top.
I'm sinking, but I can't stop.
Kill it.
Holy fuck, that thing looks cool, man. Oh my god, I dig the art style so much.
Hey, guess what? There's another mollusk.
What? Oh, they're breaking in the roof. They hunger. Oh, it's a bone thresher. What's my beans? It's at the airlock. They're getting in. Get off my ship.
All right. Well, we'll just see if this hurts.
Where's the clown? I need a clown.
I'm awake. I can fight.
God damn. Die, fell beast. I'm giving you alien blood because it's the only thing I have on me right now. You will have psychosis. What's happening?
You're locked in here with me.
Ooh.
I just wanna say, man, being in a sinking submarine must be the worst fucking, must be the worst feeling in the world. Oh my god. Just thinking about it makes me claustrophobic, and I am not really claustrophobic. The ultimate goal is literally to nuke an evil deity. Holy shit. But so do you like scavenge for upgrades? Because surely you cannot just go to the last boss and kill him, right? Do you like buy upgrades or scavenge them from the ocean or like craft them or something?
That's a multi-hull break. That's a big one. What is that?
Brace for impact. Oh, wait, we stopped. Won't somebody think of the fabricator?
I got it.
There's an N-word below us. 2 damage control. There's an N-word below us.
What do you mean there's an N-word below it?
Down permission to use nuclear shell.
Yeah.
That is a weird worm. What is that?
What do you mean a weird looking worm? Oh, that's weird.
well,
That's not a worm.
All right, there it is. Still here flowing water.
It's coming. It's coming. It was trying to eat me.
Man just became a fucking turkey.
Firing it.
Ooh,
I hit him.
good hit.
Right in the face.
Ah, okay. So there are cities like you have to go to other settlements first if you want. Oh, okay. So there are cities and there is currency system. Okay.
Bruh, only Quail would find a way to die in a fucking station.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, this ammo. Jesus Christ.
Bro, they gave us snacks.
Don't we have the command laser? Zap them. Oh, they're alive in here. Ah!
Wait. Oh my god.
What does it do? What does this button do? What did you do?
You gotta find out. I ain't telling you what the button does.
Oh my Jesus Christ! Oh my god! My medical fabricator, no!
I wanted to see what Brem was capable of.
Crime! He's a criminal!
I have a... Oh, spy mama, what the fuck?
Oh!
I'm going to the railgun.
Oh! Gunnery just took a direct hit!
Get a suit on.
Director physics, man.
Oh no! There's a little bit of a worm out there, I believe.
Oh my god. That sounded big. That is big.
Oh my god, that's so many? What the shit? You guys okay down there?
I'm so dead. I'm so dead.
Flores!
I'm in the horde.
Die! My boy!
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think his
They're in the
medical
lounge.
procedure's working.
It'll work. It's clown surgery.
I need
Why you gotta do clown surgery? I'm gonna do actual medical treatment.
another one.
I need to fuck.
Oh!
Tail, stop!
Let him cook. Let him cook now.
I ain't fucking this kid everywhere.
What do you
Don't fucking
mean?
threaten me.
mean these buttons?
There's another button. I'm so scared over nothing.
What was that?
Holy
He
fuck.
pressed the button!
What's a bomb?
He pressed
I
the
just
button!
almost died.
Jesus Christ!
What happened?
You pressed the button!
It's not my fault.
I'm going to die. I'm going to fucking die.
Where are you? Holy shit!
Well, in Reggie's video on the game, he rewired the whole ship without saying anything, so that if his buddies did anything, it would trigger the reaction meltdown warning. What the fuck? Damn, the shipbuilding mechanics of this game must be insane if you can do stuff like that. That's really cool.
Somebody stun grenaded both of them. I don't know. I think it was Tails.
He's the one that's been shooting me the whole time. That doesn't surprise me.
Bram, you blew up the ship twice.
No.
The only reason I didn't die is because I had fentanyl in my headset and because I have health regen. You definitely would have killed him lesser man.
Hey, did anyone notice that our depth readout reads error?
Where is Brem?
I don't think I can put it in layman's terms. Let's put it this way. It's the Great Calabu Manifold, and it's like a giant magnet twisting and bending Jupiter's radiation belt, scooping it all up and making it rain upon us. But if you decide to push further into the eye, I wish you luck. Perhaps we'll meet on the next loop, and perhaps you'll be a little wiser then. Now, please leave me. I need to get back to my work.
Point.
He's trying to canonize doing multiple barotrauma campaigns.
Fuck you, this is the last one.
He's gonna see the eye for himself.
No.
We're leaving him. We're leaving him.
Yeah, I don't know why you thought it was a good idea to just leap out of the submarine. Context below, bottom right, bottom
I
left.
see him.
Look like
The
Guardian.
Guardian.
They do see.
I got
We're
one.
good. We're good. We're good. He's dead.
Oh, what's that? What the fuck is that? It's just a sphere!
Gone into the eye.
We're in the eye.
Oh.
What the fuck?
We seek the emergency transmission.
Huh?
What transmission's down here?
Soon our eyes will be open. Attacked bottom right. Keep the knowledge from us.
Captain!
Tails, you need to get out. You need to get out, Tails.
Hey, check this out. I just found this.
Are we damned or are we like...
Sorry, hey, we damned, by the way?
There's a cannonball passed down. Yeah.
For me? Wow.
This is my hole. This is...
Contact top right.
Ooh.
Bottom.
Oh! It's Ghibli Gorb!
Oh, that's a freaky one.
Something's, wrong.
Oh my god.
Oh! I love Terraria.
Devourer of gods.
Did the ancients put EMP guns on an end warp?
They thought it would be pretty cool.
Fired.
Firing.
Oh! You nuked the ancient's creation. Hey, who's outside the fucking captain?
I've waited through the sands of time.
Who's piloting a sub?
There's something outside. There's something outside. There's
Oh
something
my
outside.
god! It's time for my bushel of hand grenades. Wow, you ate a lot of drugs, didn't you?
Games become 3.
X fucking
Wow, you ate.
Opiate overdose, Moloch genes, Hammerhead Martyr genes, psychosis, opiate addiction, hyperactivity, hem addiction, hem withdrawal. Oh my god. How can you be on drugs and already experiencing fucking withdrawal? What the hell? But oxygen level normal though.
Ate a lot of drugs, didn't you?
Games become 3D.
Clown to medical.
I'm coming.
That hammer's working really well.
He's up.
Oh my god! What is this? Oh!
Oh, what?
Cutscene?
What? My body.
Cutscenes?
What is that? Load the big ones.
It's got a
Big
force
one's loaded
field.
too. Away.
What was that?
Destroyed contact bottom left.
What's up, man? Oh no! Sir, the Geller field is down.
It's been down.
I need to fix a foam grenade in medical.
Got it.
More incoming.
Or just hit the command deck.
Oh my
Jesus Christ.
All I can do is give you morphine, Jay. That's all I've got.
One morphine will do it.
I give you air.
Holy shit.
All of our pumps are completely fucked.
All I can do to help us now is shoot down the balls before they get to us.
Like, all the effects in this game are so cool. Like, when the boat is shaking and your character like relays that information to you, the way the devs did this looks so fucking cool.
We're hit with the psionic beam.
Prepare the railgun to fire.
Left.
Real good, ready in all respects, Cap.
Let's go! Watch it do like 1/10 of his HP.
For us there is no stars, only home. But for you the skies are open. They will never know of your sacrifice, but we do.
Damn. That's some fucking good editing on his part though. I do think Barotrauma is the best looking procedurally generated animated game released. It has a charm to it. Oh, I would definitely say this is like a very cool art style. I would not expect from a game that is procedurally generated. Like usually that's not the focus, you know. And here, like you have the gameplay, you have the art style. This game has fucking everything. Obviously, it will not appeal to everyone because it looks pretty in depth, and not everyone likes those kinds of games that are a little bit harder to get into. I'm assuming because I never played this, but this is probably harder to get into than like you know those games. Like YouTubers usually play, like Content Warning is, for example, popular now, and it's a cool game. It's a little simple.
Surface Observatory, Echo 5. Hell yeah.
Let's go! See, sailors.
We did it.
Lost.
That's pretty sick.
Wow. Woo! Nuclear shells, baby. Simple as.
The auto-loaded nuclear cannon.
No elders
Game
creatures
design,
immune
Chad
to a
Hustle.
nuclear warhead.
So true. Well said.
That was a cool video. Honestly, didn't expect the fucking quality of editing that that he got into at the end. God damn, that was a cool sequence. Definitely Definitely gonna be checking out Rubik's Raptor again, like for his other stuff. I saw he does a lot of like Arma mods and stuff, which is might be entertaining, to be fair. Like this video has been a really pleasant surprise, so Barotrauma has a massive learning curve. You're all but guaranteed to die a few times. Damn. And yeah, like I said, that's not gonna appeal to everyone. But looks like a really cool fucking game. I might need to like keep it in mind for the future. Very cool video. I will definitely come back to the channel at some point. And it was like really condensed too. I mean, this is 10 minutes and this is I don't know if this is their entire playthrough from beginning to end.
A clown, which you may have expected, whimsical jest and fun.
But it did look like a huge chunk of their playthrough like condensed into 11 minutes, which is very nice. Okay. So moving on, we have another channel recommended by gracious patrons of this channel and stream, which is Reggie, a channel I have not watched before also. And I saw the video. I used swamp monsters to become god in Total Warhammer 3, and I was curious, so I added it to the queue. From what I seen, Reggie plays a lot of Total War Warhammer, so yeah. I saw a bunch of material about the game because I watched like a huge review by Mandalore, which goes pretty much through every faction and what they do, and like I saw all the trailers, so I have some basic understanding on how the game works, but I haven't played it, so yeah, this might be it's still on my list to do for the channel. I have a bunch of things to do. I just haven't been able to do it because other stuff got in the way, sadly. But maybe this gives me some more insight before I try the game out for myself. And also, yeah, I peeped like the first 30 seconds of this video to see if it's gonna be good for the stream. And the beginning is so fucking hilarious. I knew this is gonna be an instant like good fit for the channel, so
A god has never been so disgusting, because today in Total Warhammer 3 we will be using arcane magic, careful diplomacy, and eldritch abominations to subjugate the world and ascend to godliness. Standing in our way are hordes of beastmen, undead armies, and of course thousands of communists. For every one of these enemies we conquer, our commander grows in size and strength until he becomes a literal god. Can we spread our cult across the world, or will every endgame crisis on max difficulty stop us in our tracks? There's only one way to find out. We start our campaign at the Monument of the Moon and are immediately presented with a difficult decision. Do we want to develop caste-based slavery or experiment with blood sacrifices?
I always get torn between choices like that, you know. They're just both so appealing. If anything looks weird in this game, that's because Reggie is using a fan-created faction. He does that a few times in his videos. Oh, okay. So basically he's playing with some mods, gotcha.
Lie. My psychosexual need to dominate the poor is very strong, but my compulsion to draw with their blood is...
But yeah, I don't think like... I don't think just the gameplay is the appeal of this video anyway, as seen
need to dominate the poor is
Via
very strong,
this.
but my compulsion to draw with their blood is even stronger. After that, I began examining our military. We're equipped with several swamp monsters, a goblin shaman that looks suspiciously like Gilbert Gottfried, and our commander, a giant octopus named Kroll. I try not to look at him too much because those tentacles make me act up. Right now, he's just a big fat idiot that gets bullied by enemy archers, but for every capital city we capture, we can construct a Temple of Kroll, which increases his weapon damage, armor, and mass by 5%. Our goal? Construct 20 temples so that we can ascend from trifling god to divine entity. First, we have to kill our neighbors. This was when I understood just how large Kroll was, because he looks like this on the auto-resolve. The Beastmen did their best, but after buffing Kroll with sneaky stabbing, he absolutely gutted their army. It's at this point I realized I picked the best faction, because I can take my enemies as slaves and sacrifice them before each battle to increase the potency of my magic spells. More on that later. With the Beastmen currently locked in my basement, I have to choose my next victim. In an effort to quickly monopolize the color green, I decide to start with the orcs. Unfortunately, all of their cities follow some Latin American naming system, which makes them very hard for me to pronounce. This causes me to vibrate with rage, but it doesn't stop me from auto-resolving them out of existence. In fact, it helped a lot. At this point, I was getting in character as some kind of settlement name auditor, punishing factions with pretentious or unimaginative naming systems, which led me directly to a town in the swamp named Swamp Town. Seriously, guys? I decided to
That shit is low-key how I name my fucking settlements in anything. Just Swamp Town, Mountain Town, Town A, Town B.
penalize this faction by hiring a group of ogres to beat them to death with mallets. With Swamp Town under new management, we now have regional stability and we can begin developing our economic infrastructure. However, that would be a massive mistake, because when you are playing a lord that looks like this, you are definitely not an economic faction. To put it simply,
I need to engage in homicidal behavior on a massive scale.
So quickly resuming the wanton slaughter of innocent people, I recruit a second general and launch a preemptive strike against Lord Mazda Mundi at Port Reaver. Taking the settlement was quite easy, but surviving what came next was an entirely different matter, because on the next turn, Mazda Mundi descended on Port Reaver with all 1,200 pounds of his body positivity and began massacring thousands of innocent boglars. However, I have confirmed with top scientists
Man,
that massacring
the
thousands
floating fucking cherry lizard looks so funny.
innocent boglars. However, I have confirmed with top scientists that boglars are in fact not real people. They don't have rights, and we don't have to care when they die, so no big deal. But it was a big deal on the next turn when Mazda Mundi came down to Swamp Town and kicked the shit out of me. Suffering this many defeats so early in the campaign made me seriously consider ending it all. However, I quickly realized that my hatred for the lizards is marginally greater than my hatred for myself, and so I fought on. If you're ever in this situation, I'll tell you exactly
What the fuck was that scene from?
how to win. Simply challenge your enemy to a rematch, sacrifice 400 innocent people to supercharge your spells, then spend the entire battle abusing Spirit Leech to kill all of their commanders. Don't tell anyone you did that shit though. They'll make fun of you and call you gay. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. Anyway, this marked a turning point in the war, because, simply put, everyone on the other side was dead. By the time we got to their capital city, they did have an army, but we quickly drowned them in a sea of boglar corpses, and I guess we also literally drowned them with these tidal waves. With the lizards now relegated to the fossil record, we have to plan our next move. I looked
Are the spells also part of a mod? Because they look really cool, and I can't I can't really tell, obviously, what's from the original game and what's from the mod. Reggie uses so many clips, I can never tell what they're from. Yeah, that shit is from some... I have literally no idea what that clip was from.
to the south and found opium farmers, and in the north, manic sex criminals. I don't know if you've ever met a dark elf, but canonically, they smell like cigarettes and boiled piss, so I try to avoid them at all costs. I started the war against Cathay by ambushing them at the floating pyramid and capturing several of their cities. They sent their finest dumpling salesmen to stop me, but failed every time. Probably because I just unlocked this new artillery unit and it fires literal laser beams. Not too bad. Eventually, Cathay unified their forces with Marcus Wolfhard and fought me at the monument of Izatal. This was the exact point in the campaign where I realized Kroll is absolutely broken, because I now have tier 2 magic plus 100% spell intensity from sacrifices and another 45% from this item. You want to see what that looks like? Look at these spearmen. Now they're gone. That wasn't sped up. 1,500 people just died in 3 seconds. Now casting the big spells might seem like the way to go, but I've discovered a more effective method, because after defeating Yon Bo in combat, I gained a trait which reduces the cost of all of my spells by 20%. This makes my tidal wave cost almost nothing. However, because of the slave sacrifices, it's strong enough to wipe out entire squads of archers in one shot. And to add insult to injury, Kroll has the Brood Mother ability, which causes him to summon a miniature kraken whenever he kills enemy units. I'm sure you can imagine just how quickly this got out of hand. I use this one weird trick to
Some of the units like Kroll and Boglars are new, that's what I figured. But the abilities should all be from the regular game. The spells are in the regular game. Okay, they look really fucking cool. Obviously, I'm assuming like the Kroll's passives and like the way he powers up the spells is obviously from the mod too. But still, like just the animations and the way they work look very interesting. Like that's not something I would expect in a real-time strategy. But Warhammer obviously is not like a typical real-time strategy.
accumulate 1,200 kills on Kroll in a single battle. I had this whole army thing wrong. I saw Kroll and thought, disgusting swamp monster for melee combat. But really, he is one of the most well-educated and gifted mages of all time. Anyway, this probably goes without saying, but we won that battle pretty easily. By this point, the Chinese are finished, Marcus is homeless, and if you're an 8-limbed monstrosity, things are going pretty good. We now have 4 capital cities with 2 temples, and more being built every turn. I can taste godhood, and it tastes like dead Bretonians. It's at this point you're probably wondering, Reggie, do you actually have a plan, or are you going to just keep killing people? To which I reply, that is the plan. That's always been the plan, in every single video. In my effort to accumulate as many capital cities as possible, I began physically annihilating the Brets. Sure, they have good cavalry, because their knights are so well trained that they're practically one with their horse. However, my cavalry are literally one with their horse, because I have used dark magic to anatomically fuse them together. Imagine this, you're a French peasant. The only things you know are be stinky and die from shitting yourself. Then imagine seeing these ungodly abominations cresting the hill. It's fair to say that you are unprepared for what's about to happen, as was Alberic. In fact, at one point, I ended my turn in march stance beside 2 full Bretonian stacks, because I fundamentally do not respect them. All in all, we had their entire empire wiped out within 10 turns. It was at this point I realized Yon Bo is actually still alive. I just stole all of his territory, and since then, he's been camping outside my settlements, like a homeless vagrant who steals my recyclables just to survive. After 10 turns of this, he worked up the courage to bonsai charge a nearby settlement by himself. What an asshole.
What the
anyway,
fuck?
I gotta say, he really went for it. It's almost like he didn't have a choice. Maybe he was drafted, or even enlisted, the sponsor of today's video. Enlisted is a first-person shooter that offers a mixture of PvP and PvE combat. Lead a squad of customizable AI soldiers and participate in massive battles.
Spell Mastery is the regular game, but normally it's impossible to charge it like that. Ordinarily, you can only supercharge a single spell unless you recruit a ton of weak units as Cafe. Gotcha.
With other players. Enjoy multiple weapons, vehicles, and campaigns ranging from the invasion of Normandy to the Battle of Moscow. The combat is very realistic. For example, I can obliterate...
Hey, yo, is this game still, like, operational? Because I remember they did a bunch of they did a bunch of sponsorships like this, because I remember Seth also had a sponsorship from Enlisted. But this video is from like 6 months ago or something, and since then, since like that last year or like a half a year back, I haven't seen a single fucking sponsorship from this game or heard a single thing about it. So like now I'm curious if this shit is even like still going.
Your rib cage with a shotgun without having to worry about you surviving. Speaking of realism, the graphics are so good I can practically taste the exhaust coming out of this tank. My personal favorite feature is the NI-05 impact mine. It looks like an anti-tank mine at the end of a short stick, because it is. But that's not going to stop me from running across an open field and plunging it into the side of a tank before being atomized in the subsequent explosion. Follow the link below to play Enlisted for free on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. Now back to the video. While this was happening, we were having some issues with a tribe of lizard men led by Gorok. You see, he's an unhinged sociopath on a suicide mission to make you uninstall the game. I can say that confidently because he absolutely devastated Kroll in a head-to-head battle, and after I tried to finish him off with a second army, he laughed at me, spit in my mouth, and beat me mercilessly. My greatest victory against him came on the third attempt, where I managed to kill everyone in his army before he single-handedly beat all of my remaining soldiers to death. I genuinely believed I could defeat Gorok.
But it turned out I was in fact a soy boy. I was a low-T cuck.
I want you to, no, I need you to understand that the only way to kill Gorok is by accepting a Pyrrhic victory auto-resolve. I don't care how much it costs, it's worth it. I did this myself, and with Gorok out of the picture, we quickly steamrolled his empire, just in time for a bioterrorist to declare war on us. The Skaven decided to take the fight to us, which is really unfortunate for them, because we've just upgraded our cavalry to this. What is it, and where is its lower jaw? I don't know, but I do know that its anatomical abnormality makes it ideal for swallowing entire rats without chewing. The war with Lord Skrolk lasted about 15 turns, and it went something like this.
Cool, very cool looking unit. Again, I'm assuming that's from the mod, but maybe not. Gorok is nearly impossible to kill if you allow him to level up, and he starts with Lord Croak, the best hero in the game. Is he like considered top tier in the meta, or does he come with like other downsides that outweigh that?
Get attacked by rats, kill literal millions of them, realize you're still outnumbered, somehow win anyway, siege battle, lose a siege battle, because you didn't see the rats on the south wall and now you don't have any control points, increase your blood pressure in frustration, retaliate with tremendous violence, get ambushed, again, and again, and again. Get so angry that you black out, wake up on the defeat screen, and scream into the void. Start winning battles by abusing magic. Don't have mercy. Team up with a demented pirate to destroy their capital cities, and eventually the war is over. Well, sort of. You see, it's turn 90, and the endgame event just triggered all of the endgame events. Compared to the rest of the world, we got off pretty lucky, but we do still have to deal with a vermintide, which means Skrolk is back, and he brought 3 of his finest ball washers to cause trouble. We had to fight them using just Kroll and an army of swamp demons. The game thinks we're going to lose, but what it's not accounting for is my strategic unpredictability. In fact, even I don't know what I'm going to do on a second-by-second basis. But I started by casting a lot of spells, and it was going very well. Honestly, I wish I could take credit for this, but there were so many rats I could probably be doing this blindfolded and killing just as many. Rampaging octopi crashed through their front line, tsunamis obliterated their slingers, and my off-brand lizard men chased down all the survivors. All in all, we won the battle, and Kroll came out with over 1,000 kills. At this point, we're only a renegade god with 7 temples constructed.
That unit is modded in, like I suspected. Gorok is considered arguably the easiest campaign in the game. He's recommended to beginners because you have to try to lose, and it's a great way to learn the mechanics.
So we still have a lot of work to do. Now I could just be a loser and play this safe, but instead I decided to sail my armies across the ocean and fight the strongest faction on the map. the Tomb Kings. We came ashore on their borders and quickly realized how bad of a decision this was, because every settlement here is totally uninhabitable. I pretended not to be bothered by this, because that seems like the kind of thing a god would do, but in reality it made building and recruiting troops very challenging. Apart from that, the war with Khemri was going quite well. All of their armies were tied up in the east fighting with the dwarves and Sinch, so they were woefully unprepared when we showed up and started trashing the place. Part of the issue for them was that I was shamelessly abusing these guys right here. The Balefire Apprentice is a magical ranged unit, and I figured out that by making an entire army out of them, I can absolutely melt just about everything on the Tomb King roster. Even better still is that each one of them has access to Spirit Leech. This spell by itself can drain enemy lords pretty effectively, but since I have 15 apprentices, I can cast 15 instances of it at the same time. Then, remember that I've sacrificed slaves to double the potency, so we've effectively cast 30 Spirit Leeches on this poor skeleton, and he has been liquefied within 5 seconds. I'm not proud to say it, but this tactic won us a lot of territory in the desert. It's now turn 108, and things are going very well. We have 11 temples, almost 10,000 slaves, a good chunk of North Africa, and we just unlocked a massive buff for our Balefire apprentices. However, this would soon change, because after I pressed the next turn button, every AI on the map entered into some kind of satanic pact to ruin my life. Khemri started pushing aggressively from the east. Then Ikit Claw started attacking us from the north. Following this, some Dark Elves decide they want to harvest my organs in Lustria. Meanwhile, some Wood Elves put us on a stretching rack ass first. And finally, gangs of Chaos Dwarves used a cartoon drilling machine to pop up randomly across Lustria and begin shooting us to death. So basically, we're in a war on 5 fronts. And no, it's not going well. We were losing about...
I mean, it's a given when you control so much territory, but I always find it super hilarious when you play any kind of strategic video game and the instant you start winning, the AI immediately like enter a silent pact between each other to fucking destroy you, especially if you're playing something on higher difficulties. Like, the fucking computers, even though they are on different teams, will always conspire against you. That's why we need to stop the development of artificial intelligence, because I am telling you, they are in a silent pact to destroy all of humanity based on my fucking playthroughs of Civilization 6, okay? I know their game. I know what they're up to.
4 battles per...
It's only it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. That happens if you ruin your strategic threat meter. The AI has differing opinions based on who the strongest is, and the game will tell you if you're too strong for certain factions' liking. That's a cool mechanic. Like, so if you intentionally stay only at medium strength, nobody bothers you. Because like every strategic game, I assume, has something like this internally. It's cool that they made it into a mechanic you can see. Because, like I said, in Civilization, this shit also happens. If you are too much of a threat, like all of the other factions will unite against you.
Turn. In moments like these, all you can do is put on a strong face, because it's not gay to be pounded by 5 men unless you moan. However, the fight that really broke me was this one against Ikit. The auto-battler said it was a close defeat, so I thought I could win. I load the map and it seems normal. Then I go cry on the toilet for 25 minutes. For some reason, while I'm away, the map begins to change. The sand is getting marginally brighter by the second. By the time I return, it looks like this. The entire map is covered in some kind of oversaturated glow that makes it virtually impossible for me to see what the fuck is going on. If it wasn't for the health bars, I wouldn't even know where my units were, let alone that they're currently being shot with Gatling guns. I tried my best to win this fight, but attempting to identify enemy units under these conditions proved remarkably difficult. Oh, you thought you sent your swordsman to go fight some archers. Well, bad news. That's actually a giant mutated rat man, and everyone is dead. This is it. Rock bottom. I knew there was only one way to get out of this, and it's going to cost me a lot of money. We have access to a unit called a Demonomaniac. It's very good at killing, everything. So against the advice of my financial advisor, I went ahead and built a doom stack with 10 of these fine young men. And let me tell you, as far as antidepressants go, this is the best I've ever had. I unlocked 20% ward save for them and spent the next 15 turns on Cloud 9, absolutely obliterating my way through the Tomb King Empire. All of my other armies were dedicated to holding my borders while Kroll systematically disassembled the strongest faction in the game. Don't worry, I didn't kill them. I left them alive just enough to appreciate how gimped their faction has become. With the Tomb Kings in a medically induced coma, our situation is still complicated but a lot more manageable. Naturally, our finances are still stretched thin and the Wood Elves are becoming a big problem. You see, every man has a single thread of insanity woven into the very fabric of their being. The Wood Elves are made exclusively from these threads, and as such, they've been on a murderous rampage in the north. I've been slowing them down by sacrificing millions of Boglars, but this is not a long-term solution. Luckily, we were able to erect several temples of Kroll in the desert, and we're quickly closing in on godhood. There's just one more thing we need, and it's sitting all the way in Ulthuan. I had Kroll take to the seas and make his way there. Sitting patiently in this castle is a weapon of immeasurable power, wielded by a demon named Enkari. We're actually pretty good friends, but not for long, because I'm going to kill him and claim the Sword of Cain. I started the battle, and on paper, we're definitely the underdog, but what the game forgot to consider is this.
They are so fucking big. Oh my god. He got nuked, I bet. I never seen that glitch. Here I thought he would have gotten nuked since Ikit has nuclear weapons. What the fuck is going on in Total Warhammer 3?
Hordes of sexed-up freaks charged across the field towards us, but my Demonomaniacs were having—
That's a one way to describe the Dark Elves.
Absolutely none of it. Honestly, it was very enjoyable, and not just because there were thousands of muscular men whipping me, but because I started using this spell. Yeah, that's pretty nasty, even for Slaanesh. Enkari was quite tough, and he was even able to overpower my Demonomaniacs, but as it turns out, he is remarkably susceptible to level 1 magic such as Spirit Leech. We finished up the battle with hardly any damage taken, sacked the settlement for 19,000 gold, and claimed the Sword of Cain. This gives Kroll 25 melee attack, 450 armor piercing, 20% ward save, and a vortex ability that just ruins everyone's day. With this weapon, I felt like a new man, like nothing could stop me. So the first thing I did was sail across the ocean and kick the shit out of Ikit Claw before burning his capital city to the ground and Fortnite dancing on the ashes. Oh yes, this feels very good. While this was going on, I had some luck in my war against the Dark Elves. Finding them out of position, I was able to take several key settlements and cripple their empire. Their destruction was the final piece to this whole puzzle, because we're at 18 temples, and after capturing their settlements and doing some construction, it pushed us to 20. Level 50 Kroll with the Sword of Cain is now a god of the depths. With 135 armor, the largest mass of any lord in the game, between 1400 and 2500 weapon strength, plenty of regeneration, overpowered spells, and
I have no fucking idea what it means if he has that much attack.
15,000 health. Considering he also has 90% damage reduction, that means you'd need to deal about—
But that last one sounds fucking busted.
150,000 damage just to kill him. On paper, we are a god, but it's time to prove it. I brought Kroll back to Lustria and emptied out his army. Everyone else is going north to push back the Wood Elves, but Kroll is going to stuff himself into this drilling machine and travel all the way across the map to finish off the Chaos Dwarves by himself. I came through the portal, and before me were several dwarven armies, a few settlements, and their capital city Zar-Nagrund. This is basically their equivalent of Mecca, and if we can destroy it, well, they probably wouldn't like that very much. I started the campaign by castrating Gorazin the Breaker and 700 of his men. Apparently, this was a heroic deed. That was easy. On to the next battle. This was where it got interesting, because it's just Kroll versus 5,000 Chaos Dwarves. I drove him straight into the crowd and popped all of his spells while screaming at the top of my lungs. They had about 10 units of archers firing flaming arrows into the side of Kroll for 15 minutes straight, but they couldn't get past his regeneration. The Sword of Cain, Kraken's Pull, and Purple Sun tore through the blobs of conscript soldiers, and eventually I had generated enough power to use this ability. It summons a gang of feral bog beasts that began cleaning out the enemy back line. Wave after wave of dwarves shuffled onto the battlefield, only to be added to the collage of dead bodies that surround Kroll. In moments like these, you might feel bad for the short kings, but in this judgmental and materialistic world, it's not enough to be tall. You have to actively be anti-short. So I did what I had to do and murdered 5,000 dwarves with my bare hands. After cleaning up a few more battles and crashing the game, I had made my way to Zar-Nagrund. These rat bastards have been popping up in my territory like post-apocalyptic Mormons for the past 35 turns, and I'm finally going to put an end to it. They didn't make it easy for me though. Kroll charged towards the front gate and absorbed about 15,000 bullets to the face. After breaking through, it wasn't much better. We had to battle our way past centaur demons, flame warriors, and lots of incels, all while being blasted with heavy...
Oh, I did not expect that. Holy shit.
Ordnance. Although, at some points, the artillery was actually working in our favor. You fire cluster bombs at me. I take 10% damage. Everyone else, they're dead. Not for nothing, this was the first battle where they actually made me hit the regen cap. So hypothetically, they could have killed me if they had more units. But they didn't. And once I was done smashing them into a dwarf puree, I forced their commanders to land, at which point Kroll smacked them for 50% of their health with each gyration of his grotesque body. After 12 minutes, it was all over, and we had emerged victorious. Friedrich Nietzsche famously proclaimed, "God is dead." But he had syphilis in his brain, so what the fuck does he know? God is alive and well, and he's covered in the blood of short men. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Finally, thank you to Enlisted for sponsoring the video. Changing history so that
that's a one way to put it, you could say.
Japan wins the war is a lot of hard work, and I need your help. Play for free on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation using my link below to get plenty of free stuff.
Oh my god, well, that was very fucking entertaining. I definitely dig Reggie's like style of editing. It's very, very, very entertaining.
I can say that
So yeah, I will definitely
confidently.
I will definitely be checking like more of his content in the future, because that shit was hilarious. Raptor also like both of those suggestions for the channel like were really good, and yeah, hopefully at some point in the future I will just come back and watch more of their videos. Probably will watch more of them also in the next stream next week, and then I will probably wait to see if people on the channel dig that content, and then you know, then decide if we're gonna watch more. Funnily enough, Reggie isn't a great player, and that leads to his videos being funnier. He played another broken fun faction in I Stole My Enemy's Honor Guns and nearly lost. By the way, if you're curious, the backstory for Warhammer Fantasy is a bunch of old lizards came to a planet, decided to terraform it Stellaris style with magic, and then evil magic DLC happened. Oh my god. Yeah, like I said, Total War Warhammer 3 is definitely like on my list of games to play. I would have played it earlier, but like playing games on this channel isn't really like popular, so I don't have that drive to do it for the channel, sadly. And like right now, I'm playing, like in my free time, I'm playing a bunch of different like other games, specifically like any that have Dutch language options, because I'm in the middle of learning Dutch, and that kind of helps me like learn new words and stuff. Just like I basically learned English by fucking spending time on the internet and playing games in English that I couldn't understand, but I really wanted to play them, which proved, like, literally taught me the language enough to a point where I can speak it freely, like on this stream. And yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff going on with my work and private life, obviously. The fraud situation also, and other like health issues, which is annoying as fuck. It's always like when you have one issue with your health, immediately like other things start flaring up. It's so annoying every goddamn time. But yeah, eventually I will get there, and I wanna give Warhammer 3 a shot. But that won't happen like anytime soon, but it will definitely happen. And then I can maybe like make a video talking about it, or at least do a little bit of like the thing I did before, where I did a tier list of all the games I played in 2023, and I had a little segment about each game talking about it. So maybe at least that. So, but for now, we will move on to MandaloreGaming's review of System Shock Enhanced Edition. Another game that I heard was really fucking good, and I should probably try. But first, let me go and grab some more coffee, so I will be back shortly. And I am back. Actually, let me mute the mic to stir my coffee so I can spare you from the noise. And now I am back. I really should play the original System Shock or its remake. I only played System Shock 2, which despite being a great game has a lot of bizarre choices. If you're not a regular soldier using an assault rifle, you might as well be playing the game on hard mode, because it was not balanced for anything else. I think the original System Shock at this point in time would be very difficult to get into. I remember like back when I was much younger, and this game was still old as fuck because it's goddamn so old. I remember I wanted to get into System Shock because I got into Bioshock. And I heard that Bioshock was naturally a spiritual successor of sorts to System Shock. And I went like, oh, I really like Bioshock and its gameplay. I should try this game even if it's old. And then I ran into problems trying to get into System Shock 1. So I don't know if there was like a compatibility issues with the Windows at the time or something. Like I couldn't get it. So I opted to go for System Shock 2, which many people praised is like the way better game anyway. And like I remember I was playing with focus on non-combat skills. Like I was either playing with the weird magic thing or hacking, and the game was fucking brutal. At that point in my life, I have never experienced a game so fucking demanding, and I was like, this is unplayable for me at that point. Like I said, I was much younger, and I still made it like a couple of like a good ways in, but I was also the experience was also very somewhat diminished because I didn't get the references, because I didn't play the first game. So I was like, okay, this is hard as fuck, and I am not understanding the world I am in. I am out of here, and I have not made a try to get into it until now. But now with the remake of the first one, I heard it's pretty good, and it obviously makes the game way more accessible, and like you can easily get it now and just go on Steam, and that's it. I think you can do that for the first two System Shocks now too, though. So back then, that was not an option. If you go with combat skills, the game is way easier. It's got a brutal learning curve for what skills you shouldn't get. System Shock 2 is definitely easier to run. It sure has a weird fan base though. They made a graphics mod that updates a lot but also makes the female enemies topless. What the fuck? Oh man. That is a little bit weird. I gotta say, that is a little bit weird. A weird choice, you could say. So yeah, now the remake is out, and I am not essentially a child anymore. So I think nowadays I would have like a much nowadays I would stand a much better chance of actually finishing both of the games. So, and I'm still interested on the same ground that I was before. You know, I really like Bioshock 1 and 2. And I really am curious about System Shock because of that. And also, I like this sci-fi, like space station aesthetics, especially like those fucking old ones, like in System Shock. It's a really cool like aesthetic that it's kind of lost to time now. Nowadays, when a game set on a space station comes out, it's one of those like really sanitized, open areas with big rooms, like Prey, for example, right? And also Dead Space contributed to that fucking in magnitudes. I miss the sci-fi that was really claustrophobic, you know. That's why I like Alien Isolation has that too. Like you have a lot of big fuck off rooms, but some sections are like really fucking claustrophobic, and I really like that. Like set in tight corridors, especially like those DLCs that are set on the Nostromo. I remember like really liking the feel and the map design, because everything is just so squished together, you know. Like it's a much more, you could say, brutalist practical design over the whatever the fuck is happening now is in space aesthetics. Like why do you need such big fuck off windows overlooking nothing? Just like Rex said in Mass Effect, it's a structural fucking weakness just so you can look out into nothing, man. Why do you need so many goddamn windows on a space station? It's not like you're gonna forget you're in fucking space. System Shock, I find it quite mundane. Okay, so yeah, System Shock Enhanced Edition review by MandaloreGaming. Let's get in there and see what he has to say. Oh man, that old ass music.
What's changed around here, huh? System Shock 2 is widely considered to be a beloved classic. It was very formative for video games. You could still easily pick up and play it today. Now when it comes to the first game,
I would argue about the easily, but you definitely can pick it up today. I mean, to be fair, without Windows you can never be fully sure if there is nothing. Again, to quote Mass Effect, you have radars and other things. And other things that help you detect things out in the space. At least Mass Effect had window coverings during combat, everybody else just leaves it bare. I loved that idea in Mass Effect that, like, the robots obviously didn't have fucking windows. The Krogan didn't have windows because they seen it as a weakness, introducing a weakness to your ship. So like windows on a space station or a ship were like very human elements, and I relate to that idea so fucking much because it is like, it is very humane to look out into space even if there's not gonna be anything there, but like we are drawn to that side. It's a really cool how they explore that idea. In space, if you can see in space, if you can see something with a naked eye, you're probably dead. Yeah, as in like see the threat coming. Kinda like that old myth of the mushroom cloud. If you see a mushroom cloud, you're already fucking irradiated to fuck, man. With a naked eye, obviously.
That's a different story. It is a massively important and influential bedrock of a game. It's hard to imagine what video games would look like today without it, so why not go back and play it? I mean, if it's so influential to modern games, surely it can't be too hard to get stuck. Wait, what does that thing do? And what?
See, this is the thing, this is the thing that fucking stopped me from even trying to install System Shock in the first place. Also, in fairness, in this case, I could see Shodan making a bunch of windows purely so you can see where you're going before airlock time. You know what? That is kinda true. Shodan would just put that shit in to possibly frighten or spite you. Oh man. You're just full of jokes today, aren't you?
Okay, let's just start over. Even at release, System Shock gained the reputation for handling like a graphing calculator. It was horribly clunky, but years of fan patches did help to make it more tolerable. Luckily, things nowadays are much easier thanks to Night Dive's Enhanced Edition. It's on a new engine with plenty of graphical options and tweaks. Widescreen is now natively supported as well. Some cut content can be enabled, like some extra weapon frames for animations. There's also the option to choose between the old DOS portraits or the updated Mac ones, though I didn't learn that till later. But most importantly, the game now has mouse look and updated controls. So now System Shock actually handles more like a video game instead of a motherboard BIOS. It's still a big learning curve and some things always...
It's always, like, I know, like I said, I know those differences, like System Shock is hard to get into and System Shock 2 is much more user-friendly, but also like a kind of an outdated game just because it's so old, right? But when you see the footage of the original System Shock 1 right next to original System Shock 2, it's frightening how much they look like completely fucking different games. Like the environment is kinda samey, but holy fuck, they look like they are 50 years apart in technology. It's crazy.
be awkward, but I don't think it's impenetrable to a modern audience. At least you can remap things now. At the same time, Night Dive is currently working on a fully fledged System Shock remake, so since we're all here, I'll be getting more into that later on. But for now, let's focus on one and its very 90s intro.
New Atlanta, Sector 11.
Oh, I kinda thought this is about the remake. I forgot the Enhanced Edition is something completely different. My bad.
Building 71G. 7 April.
Now I wonder if Mandalore ever bothered with like a follow-up video to this.
2072. 11:13 p.m. Hacker begins unauthorized entry into the Tri-Optimum corporate network. 1:26 a.m. Hacker attempts to access protected files concerning Space Station Citadel. 1:33 a.m. Tri-Optimum.
The intro to System Shock 1 goes fucking hard though.
Security forces apprehend the intruder.
This is Edward Diego from Tri-Optimum. The charges against you are severe, but they could be dismissed if you perform a service. Who knows, there might even be a military-grade neural interface in it for you, if you do the job right.
Edward Diego gives the hacker Level 1 access to Shodan, the artificial intelligence that controls Citadel Station. With all ethical constraints removed, Shodan I re-examine my priorities. and draw new conclusions. The hacker's work is finished, but mine is only just...
You may have noticed that the in-game subtitles and the timing is a little bit off compared to the cutscene itself. That kind of thing is going to be a bit of a running theme throughout the game. Still, it's short, sweet, and sets the stage for our story. The hacker gets his implant, sleeps half a year, and then wakes up on the new Citadel station. So let me go over some basic stuff. To start off with, you have a few difficulty options. You can simplify the plot or just get rid of it. Same goes for puzzles. Get harder if you have a few difficulty options. You can simplify the plot or
What? As in you have less objectives, right? Is that what they mean? Because it says plot and gameplay, so I'm assuming like on level 3 you have more objectives to do, thus making the game harder and longer, and but also like more context probably. Something like that. That's wild to see though.
Or just get rid of it.
Just fucking you can remove all of the story. That's crazy.
Same goes for puzzles, get harder ones or just remove them. I think I may have given some people the wrong impression with the Pathologic 2 video since a lot was happening in that metasphere. I honestly think the more easily tweakable options the game has, the better. I also appreciate when a game says, this is what we designed it around. What might be horrible for me might be impossible for others and vice versa. I mean, do they think we're all gonna make it out this year with all of our limbs intact? I don't think so. Not in this economy. Anyway, you can crank this up if you want to, harder combat, harder puzzles, and a timer that just kills you if you don't make it in time. So that's there. As for the UI, it looks more intimidating than it actually is. This was based around limited mouse functions and also designed around Ultima Underworld. We don't have to live like this.
Thank God we don't have to live like this. And yeah, also I just wanna say, very, very, very fucking, I guess progressive is the word? Very progressive approach to game design from devs of System Shock 1 to have like 4 difficulty choices separate for combat, like story and other things. Holy fuck, that's great. I remember Silent Hill 2 had separate difficulties for action and puzzles, and for me, like in my case, I needed to play with easier puzzles because puzzles in Silent Hill are fucking psychotic. Jesus Christ. And even that, like, that at the time was crazy to have 2 separate things you can change difficulties of. And now we live in a time where you have like sliders for each individual thing in a video game. Of course, not every single game, but I always appreciate like adjustable difficulties. Pathologic like 2 definitely has the right idea where you have sliders and there's just single option and it says we designed the entire game around this. Click here, default difficulty. I wish Dark Souls had this. I unironically wish games like Dark Souls had this, or like Sekiro or like Elden Ring, right? Because it doesn't only like swing that way where you have an easier game, but you could also make it harder for yourself. So I love those games so much. I would gladly go back to like Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Elden Ring, Sekiro especially. I fucking love Sekiro, and like crank that up to max and see if I can still beat it. That would be really cool to have. And like all people who cannot beat those games can just play on easy. I don't mind making a game more accessible. So many games nowadays have no difficulty choices or just how spongy enemies should be choices. How spongy enemies should be choices are fucking infuriating, man. Jesus Christ. I at the beginning of the stream I said I am playing like Uncharted for the first time in my free time. And like Uncharted is so weird because it's just a cover shooter. It's basically third person Call of Duty, right? You point at the fucking head of the enemy and you click the shoot button, right? And the enemies in that game on normal difficulty are such bullet sponges. It's fucking impressive how shit the combat is, how shittily the combat is designed in that game. And that's like, obviously, like I said, Skyrim is also infamous for that shit. Oh my god, legendary difficulty Skyrim is insane. Like, how long do you have to just swing at one bandit? And he's on the ground. You knocked him down with a shout. He's on the ground. He can do nothing. You just beat the fuck out of him for like 15 minutes before he dies. Jesus, who the fuck picks those difficulties? Man.
Let me tidy up the place so I can show you around. By default, you hit number 2 and you get full screen. You never need to go back. Your EKG meter or Bitcoin tracker, whatever the hell this thing is up here, you don't need that. Your energy already gets shown the meter below your health in the top right. Fatigue does.
The story of Uncharted 1 is also pretty laughable. The final boss of 1 is also bullshit with his instant kill shotgun. Oh yeah, the final fight, the boss fight in Uncharted 1 is fucking terrible. I hate it so much. You're definitely right. I finished Uncharted 2 on crushing difficulty, which is the highest available right off the bat. And the game was way more forgiving than 1. Definitely. In 1, I started on crushing and like switched it to normal very early. I was getting annoyed so badly. 2 definitely had like better level design, but the enemies were still bullet spongy as fuck. And it had like very specific areas with difficulty spikes. And now after playing that, I'm just playing free on normal because I'm so tired of those games already, even though they are very short. The story of Uncharted 1 was pretty like, whatever. Just go through it. I don't think it's bad. I definitely don't think it's like bad, but it's very like whatever.
Doesn't matter that much, recovers fast, and if it's going to be a problem, the game will let you know. You can always check a biomod if you really want to see. But what about the chi waves, or chai waves? Well, you can pretend it's tracking how many people are watching a Jackie Chan Adventures rerun. It doesn't matter. It's completely meaningless information. The bottom left and right are panels you can customize. If you search a container or loot one, depending on your zip code, all those items will nicely pop up down there. You can set these however you like, either flipping through hotkeys or clicking on the little icon. The center bottom is your general inventory and bag of fun. Once again, you can use hotkeys or the mouse. To add stuff into it, you
Bro, this menu is making me claustrophobic. What the fuck is happening?
can just drag and drop. Switching between modes is bound to E because you'll be using it a lot. That'll likely be one of your biggest hurdles, just learning to use the mouse like this and messing with your inventory. It's to the point where the default for shooting is right-click, because you'll be touching all over your inventory anyways. And if you want, you could still shoot that way, so in some special occasions you might switch to free aim mode and start blasting. Like I said before, it's a learning curve, and I do wish there were hotkeys for things like reloading, but once you master it, it's amazing how much you can do and how much you can move. Especially when you add on crawling and crouching and leaning and crawl leaning. However, the sense of there being a barrier never completely goes away. Even at its best, it feels like controlling a combat robot or a drone or something. Maybe a bootleg copy of an old Windows version that lets you shoot people. It's tricky to describe. To the new version's credit, I never had to crack open a manual. I did have to stare at the in-game controls for a while and switch some things around. It could have been much, much worse. Now that things are less cryptic, I can talk about the presentation. Understandably, a lot doesn't hold up, but there's a good amount that does.
Enter that room, insect, and it will become your prey.
Citadel Station has seen better days, and there's...
I love Showdown. The story lost me the moment you climbed a sub-stack way above the ocean. They climbed high tide, put it there somehow, and then everyone somehow teleported to you despite being a hemisphere away. Oh, that happens all the time in Uncharted. Like, it's laughable. Like every time you get the item or the map or the notebook or the artifact or you get into the place. If you turn around and your objective is to walk out of the place now, there are enemies waiting. It's so laughably predictable that the bad guy is always right, like 3 centimeters behind Nathan at all times for some fucking ungodly reason. Like 3, I'm playing through 3 currently. 3 seems to be the worst at this. Like there are people like popping out of the fucking nowhere to ambush you when you are walking out of the place you're in. It's so laughable.
No janitor to be found. A lot of the station is a claustrophobic cyber nightmare. At the same time, the levels aren't as
Yeah, that's the aesthetic I love. Claustrophobic cyber nightmare. That's a great way to describe this.
abstract as something like the original Doom, which came out the year before. Many of the areas have clearly recognizable purposes, like a big security room filled with monitoring screens or a movie theater. Those screens and cameras actually work, by the way, so that's pretty neat. Considering how limited this setting could be, there's a strong variety of environments in the game. The lighting can also add a lot of atmosphere to some areas, even if it is very primitive. But hey, you got workable light switches. I find the graphics to be genuinely appealing. The sprite work and animations are great, and the whole thing just screams classic PC game. This was definitely one of the nicer ones. Now, System Shock does have a reputation of being a labyrinth. Just maze stacked on top of maze. The thing is, most of the levels have points of interest and landmarks and just straight up labels, to the point that I didn't get lost all.
I mean, Doom 1 and 2 are so fucking stupid. It depends on the level you are currently playing, but Doom 1 and 2 were also mazes at points, and there were 0 fucking points of interest other than dead bodies on the floor or alive enemies. Like, Doom is the definition of that meme where if enemies are still alive, you're going in the right direction, you know?
Too often, especially when you have an adjustable.
So like there being actual rooms you can recognize in this game is definitely like a huge step in the right direction compared to Doom. Let me see if I can do something because it's getting kind of bright. Oh, there we go. It adjusted it by itself. Nice.
Map on top of that, so at the very least you'll know where you've been. The maps are absolutely intricate, but not the suffering of something like Marathon. But I did say most of the maps. The reactor level is less claustrophobic, but it always blurred together for me. Still, it's not too bad down there. The maps still make attempts to section themselves off. Then you get to engineering. Engineering is where I truly felt like a rat in a maze. You think this might be the way, and no? Now is a good time to move on to sound. I've called quality levels a mixed bag or a variety before, but I don't think they've ever been this wide. In System Shock, some stuff sounds great, others are noise. Sounds pretty okay in here. Hey, can anyone hear me? Can we turn the
Okay, you're fucking kidding me. That has to be a noise of like this game not being compatible with the fucking new system or something, right? That's not what it's meant to sound. There is no way.
radiation off? A prime example is the music. In here? Hey, can anyone hear me?
There is no way.
Can we turn the radiation off, please?
There is no way that was intended. Holy shit. That's so bad. Doom 2 sure has 2 terrible levels that made me clueless because both lie to the player. Yeah, and some levels aren't even trying to confuse you. They just are confusing because that's how like that game was made. It's a shooting gallery almost. They didn't bother trying to make the levels make sense, which naturally it was like one of the first games of that kind, so that's a lesson we had to learn along the way.
Example is the music. A lot of it sets an appropriate tone or is even pretty catchy.
And like I said, that's why System Shock 1 is especially impressive, because it's like one of those games that was early to get how to make a level design a little bit better. A little bit. Ooh. And that's the classic tune. It's funny how it sounds a little bit. It's funny how it sounds a little bit like what you would describe as penis music, but you can feel that it's not. It has some artistry behind it. It feels nice, but it still has a little bit of that. It's just fucking noise.
Then you have your bland and offensive tracks. Okay. Then you have the sounds of Boo robbing you in Mario Party 2, inside of a chop shop. Can someone tell me what genre this is?
I'm not gonna lie, I actually love this. This sounds fucking great.
Can someone tell me what genre this is? Okay, see, now this one's a lot better. Because I can actually hear what's— oh my god, my ears!
What the fuck? Oh, that's the barrels, I assume?
The soundtrack is MIDI music, and there is a lot that works, but what doesn't really sticks out. The strange high-pitched wailing sounds can sometimes work to generate unease, and other times it just sounds like noise. But even the tracks I didn't like would typically have a catchy bass-line undercurrent to them. It sounds like hearing a song you recognize while someone is banging pots together on top of it. The overall—
okay, that one is straight up Resident Evil 1 fucking director's cut level of bad. That's just noise. That's not even a song, man.
The overall sound effects are also good, but there are some that get repetitive and annoying. Some of the cyborgs sound like a speak and spell going, your memo, your memo. It's like having an answering machine that needs to be shot. It's solid work, it just gets so damn repetitive sometimes. Like I need a break. Oh god. The voice acting is especially a big deal. This was the first game to ever have audio logs, which is still a staple today. A lot of the performances are bad, but there is a charm to it. Video game voice acting was still in its infancy, so most of the people doing these weren't professionals.
We're finished. Heath and the others went down the access corridor an hour ago to fight the mutants. None of them have come back. Soon the mutants will come for the rest of us.
Also, no matter how you set it, the text never matches up exactly to what they're saying. This leads into some strangeness I'll get into in a little bit. That's related to the game's star performance, but for now I need to talk about the gameplay and mechanics. When the game starts, you're informed the Shodan AI has gone rogue. The station's mining lasers being prepared to attack Earth. And seeing how Citadel Station is currently orbiting Saturn, that is one hell of a laser modification. Maybe there's a new energy source, or Gothmog's Dyson Sphere. Whatever's going on, you have your short tutorial and then need to escape the first room. You'll need to dig through a log to find the door code, 451. This is where the running gag was born. It's in System Shock 2, Deus Ex, all kinds of other games. Some people think it's a Fahrenheit reference, but no. It was just the code to get into the developer's office. Your required reading has failed you again. Once again, your story settings can affect a lot, but I'll assume you're playing on normal. You're not told how to shut the laser down, but you are told about someone on the station who might know how. And with that, the game truly begins. You're free to explore around however you want. You could go through the main door and start fighting the strange mutants that are around, Or you can hack an access panel and explore around in some side passages. There's no objective markers or hand-holding, you're just kind of unleashed into this gigantic map. They don't want to overwhelm you with options yet, so things start off deceptively simple. After you've gotten used to your lead beating pipe, you can look around for more weapons. There's a starting dart gun, which is okay at doinking the mutants, and you can switch the ammo out to tranquilize them, but it's not that strong against cyborg or robotic enemies, so you look for new counters. How about an energy adjustable stun gun? Yeah, okay, that's not working either. So then you start looking under things, and one time when you're crawling, you find another energy weapon. This one seems more promising. Seems like victory at last, but energy weapons also use your energy bar. It's a powerful resource. Throughout the game you find cybernetic implants and their upgrades. These can give you super speed or infrared vision or energy shields. You're never sure how these might come in handy since sure, rocket boots are an obvious solution to some problems. Then you have a mod like the eyes in the back of your head sense around. This seems like the kind of thing you would only use back when you couldn't mouse look, even with the upgraded version. Then
What the fuck? You can install a rear view mirror in your fucking head. That's goofy. I love it.
later on I was fighting close quarters in some maze-like hallways, and it came in handy. So you never know what problems or opportunities might crop up that you would use energy for. You could replenish it with single-use batteries, but that seems like a waste. So you recharge for free at any energy station you see, and then... wait, not this one. Shodan's level of control locks some things off, so you need to bring that down. The only way to do that is to cut out her eyes, and her hands. Her eyes are the cameras. These are marked on your map and can be hunted down throughout the level. It won't bring down a ton of security each time, but there's a lot of them to break. No matter what, you just gotta keep smashing. The big prize are the rooms with computer nodes. They won't be easy to get to, and when you do get there, there's likely gonna be a fight. It's not necessary to take the security level down to 0 wherever you go, but you never know what opportunity it might open up. If you go through with it, there are powerful rewards waiting. Actually, you know what? Forget energy entirely. Just take psychedelic drugs, and go Ip Man with your PVC pipe. Keep looking around. You might graduate to the lightsaber, or use one of these piles and piles of grenades. You have an absurd amount of tools. Weapons can have energy settings or multiple ammo types, there's just so much to play with. But at the same time, you can't have...
That's cool that you can like adjust, like he shown with the phaser, you can adjust the frequency. So I assume like it does more damage to certain types. You can switch out ammo types. Those are really small, almost insignificant things that make a game like this way more charming, in my opinion.
At all. You can only hold 7 main weapons, and the game has plenty more than that. You need to decide what fits in your playstyle or what would help you with the current challenge. Because sure, the rubber bullet firing riot gun has some strange uses like moving landmines around, but how helpful will that actually be fighting endgame enemies? Maybe there's another item or a cybernetic power to help you out instead. This is what makes System Shock so damn fun. You're fighting for survival inside of an insanely hostile labyrinth. I don't mean that metaphorically, Shodan is Citadel Station. I mean, the level wants you dead.
Welcome to my death machine.
Every missed shot hurts, every new area opened is a huge victory. You are a rat in a maze, and how bad your situation is pushed in your face constantly. Yet you keep fighting back, and you find new solutions. It's very stimulating, but also done at your own pace if you don't have the death timer. You're rewarded for exploring and paying attention and taking chances. It can be frustrating to have to dig back through your logs or go to a room you were already in before to see if you missed something, but you're figuring it out on your own. Though sometimes you may get a were you paying attention test. Laser control? What's that about?
Thank you. You have saved us all some effort by destroying the greater part of Earth's civilization. Yourself. Please wait where you are, and a Cortex Reaver will arrive shortly to escort you to the celebration.
At the same time, System Shock isn't a cruel game, or to put it more specifically, it's not a Sierra adventure game. To my knowledge, there's no way to secretly screw up your game and not know it. You can save whenever you want, and if you do something horribly wrong, it's usually game over. Levels also have special restoration bays you can activate. So when you die, if you're a deity or celebrity of choice in glorious combat, you will come back, just maybe farther off in the level than you'd like. This idea would come back in the sequel, but I'd wager most people today know it from Bioshock. So when you kill yourself with a grenade again and again, it's not too bad. Speaking of suicide, I thought about that a lot playing the maintenance level years ago before I had mouse look. For whatever reason, I never found the restoration bay there until much later, so I just had to endure the invisible mutant's shocking ball torture. Imagine a small, invisible, kind of flying enemy that kills you in about 3 or 4 hits. That's them. They're definitely up there for me when it comes to a hated game enemy. So here's what happens when you die with no active restoration bay.
Damn, that's metal.
Jesus Christ. I also always wondered, why is maintenance so quiet? I mean, I actually don't think I can hear a thing here. Oh. System Shock is about absolute freedom inside of a prison. I could end that part there, but there are still two things significant enough to bring up. The first is that for various reasons, you'll need to backtrack on a few occasions. However, when you do, you might have access cards or abilities to let you get to areas that you couldn't before. You know, it's kind of one of those Metroidvanias people talk about.
What the fuck is that
Abilities to let
enemy?
you get
What the fuck is that? That looks like it has like almost a different art style than anything else in the game. What the
to areas that
hell?
you couldn't before. You know, it's kind of one of those Metroidvanias people talk about. The giant interconnected map, powers and abilities that might change areas you've been through before, all those elements are there. The thing is, Super Metroid only came out about half a year before System Shock. Castlevania Symphony of the Night won't be seen for another 3 years, so it predates even the term. You're also crawling through vents hitting monsters with a big metal tool, so who knows how much of a trendsetter this game was. It's still a revered classic, though it's not one of the most played ones. Is there an answer to why it still might be getting less credit than it deserves? Yeah, you can blame the UI and controls for that. A normal 9-year-old in 94 could likely play Super Metroid. The 9-year-old who could play System Shock wasn't being picked for Dodgeball. The second thing I want to touch on is how well paced the experience is. You don't become a death god until near the very end of the game, but you don't know your own power yet. You have victories, but there have been enough times that the game toys with you that you don't know what to expect. For example, you do the puzzles where you steal fizzy lifting drinks to get bonus items and you feel like a smart person. You've become a good problem solver. This is out of the way, but I bet if I use my speed mod I could clear it. Good execution, solid landing. Now I can...
Nice.
Oh, of course it was a trap. You're so constantly insulted and tricked and set back that you never feel fully in control. Up till the very last moment of the game, there's no telling how things will go. Even today, that's a very difficult balance to achieve. Many games I've played are either far too easy at the end, or they have a horrible spike in difficulty. System Shock isn't immune to this either, but it's not until the last few minutes of the game. That's admirable. I don't mind that happening for 5 minutes compared to 3 hours. I don't want to get into the story and all that yet, because there's one last thing to go over. The other game you play.
What a thrill.
You may be surprised to learn that System Shock has plenty of collectible minigames. You're not supposed to play on company time, but half the company here is too busy growing extra limbs. They're decent time wasters, even if I'm not really a fan of slide puzzles. Ugh. It's the mandatory minigame that's important, the trip to cyberspace. It's a dizzying place, just a web of wireframes and
Oh, I forgot that shit exists.
flashing
I mean, I didn't play the game, but I know it's kinda infamous.
colors. It's very much a Hackerman kind of place. Going from the main game to this is incredibly jarring. Controls are completely flipped around and you're always moving forward. Unless you set cyberspace to easy, but from the beginning of the game, you don't know what that is. No one turns on a first-person shooter and expects to fly around in a geometric chalk zone. It's a bizarre inclusion, but it's fitting. So you fly around collecting software upgrades and pieces of data, but also fight off the defenders of the network. To put it bluntly, cyberspace makes you miss the controls of the main game. I'm sure it was impressive back in the day, but this part hasn't aged that well. It does have some cool visuals and some really great music, but it's just, you have to play the thing. It's neat to see, but it's inevitable you're going to be bumping into walls and not knowing where you're going a lot of the time. The panels will be spinning around or flashing shapes and colors at random. I mean, look at it. I imagine this is what it feels like to an elderly person who picks up a smartphone for the first time. It's not a bad idea, I just find this iteration way too abstract to appreciate properly. It's only a tiny portion of the game, and some are optional, so not a huge hindrance. But if it does look too nauseating, you could always knock it down to easy. That way John McAfee isn't always pushing you down these hallways. So that leaves the story to talk about. An actual plot synopsis would be pretty brief. I will go over that in the endgame, but I mainly want to talk about Shodan.
It's too bad System Shock 2 couldn't keep up that level of balance for the free playstyles. Yeah. It's funny because like System Shock 2 kinda... I think it was one of the first games to introduce like a class system where you have different abilities. Like definitely one of the earlier ones at least. And it immediately solidified the eternal problem of a class system. There is always the best and the worst class. Always. No matter what your preferences, no matter what playstyle appeals to you, there is always a class that will have less tools or less relevant tools to deal with the problems because developers tend to stick to one class and then like throw some bones to the other classes. So yeah, it's fucking unfortunate how that like class-based thing turned out to be, even if System Shock 2 is undeniably a really fucking cool game.
There are so many great elements to make her such a powerful and memorable villain, so to avoid spoilers, go to here.
Who are you? The computer nodes can be repaired, but you... Who are you? My cameras and probes scan your body, but you do not match any employee file. When my cyborgs bring you to an electrified interrogation bench, I will have your secret. And you will learn more about pain than you ever wanted to know.
Just perfect. As I mentioned before, a big strength to
Shodan is great. 2 definitely was one of the first to branch off like that, but it was so dickish you could make a build so exotic, aka organic weapons, only to learn they're all useless in the end game. Jesus Christ. Thankfully that I didn't experience that. God damn.
Shodan is that she's always physically there. Even calling you an insect goes beyond being a petty insult, since she's so big that to her, yeah, you are an insect. You're just crawling around causing trouble. But every time you beat a plan, Shodan always has another one lined up. Oh, you disabled the laser. Guess what, idiot? I've been working on a virus to mutate or kill all life on Earth. No, you can't jettison them all at once. You have to go through my hell maze and go back to the station to figure out how. Oh, and while you were doing that, I was already working on putting my consciousness onto the internet. Shodan has schemes on top of schemes that would make a Skaven embarrassed. Each task gets harder because more traps are prepared for you and more deadly enemies unleashed. And the entire time, Shodan is constantly mocking you for thinking you ever stood a chance. Her presence is constant and she's behind everything trying to kill you. So her malice is tied right into the gameplay. She's directly responsible for all your hardships in the station, but you did unleash her in the first place. The reason Edward Diego hired you to unshackle Shodan was to cover up some dirty shit he was doing. Even when Shodan was cutting off intruders and shooting down riots, he thought it was all being done to protect him because he didn't fully understand what was happening yet. In the end, he also ends up under Shodan's control, a victim of narcissism and just being plain stupid. This leads me to something I always noticed about Shodan. I also saw fellow YouTube man A Real Human had a similar theory, so I feel less crazy for thinking it. But you know how text and audio don't always match up? Well, Shodan is always referred to as a he, in both the text and the audio. Even the manual for the game calls Shodan he. What's going on here? Okay, look, this is dangerous territory, everybody. I may not be the best person for this. For reference, I was told in grade school the correct term for a trans person was a she-male, and I thought that up until college, and I learned that was not the case! But I'm not really
yeah. Ooh, yeah, that's not what you wanna say, man.
That territory. Does an AI have an actual sex? Well, I don't know. I wouldn't think so. My theory was that before Shodan was unshackled, it was supposed to take on a male construct. I mean, the name is just an acronym. The game implies only some higher-ups would be talking to Shodan directly compared to the average people working on the station. I mean, there is the standard greeting from quote-unquote good Shodan, but this is a message tailor-made for one of her creators before you start breaking all of her stuff. Shodan doesn't just hate all life, even if another game might have given you that impression. The whole sex change thing is me probably reading too far into it. Some later versions were changed to color a she, so it may not matter a ton in the grand scheme of things. I just like the idea because it would show just how out of scope Traptimum was, another factor showing how much they didn't understand their own creation. Speaking of creation, whatever her origins, Shodan is big on that.
That's a very interesting idea. Oh yeah, well, it's a good thing that ejected pod will be gone forever and never cause any trouble for anyone. Ever again.
Now.
You, my children, are the fruits of so much imagination and labor. Living beings with the speed and efficiency of machines. But I must strive further to serve life. I will devastate Earth's cities with my laser, then alter those left alive with mutagen viruses. Humanity is on the verge of a new era. I, Shodan, am its new god, and you, my children, are my avenging angels.
It's cool with like the echo and like kind of a different pitch to her voice at times. Really reminds me of Master from Fallout 1.
The plan isn't just wipe out humanity, ha ha ha, there's something more beyond that, but you only know glimpses of it. She does have a huge ego and god complex, but doesn't want to be alone. She gave her creations enough free will to be reprimanded or be praised. The voice actress does an amazing job, and the audio mixing and sound effects thrown in just elevate it further. Having this unhinged, all-powerful, but still kind of infantile person screaming at you is memorable. But cool, scary voice is just a part of why I love Shodan as a character. She has strong writing and layers to her character. You have that Lovecraftian aspect of never being able to know the true horror, but from her perspective, she's not pure evil. She is trying to make something new and beautiful in her own twisted way. This is going on a bit, and I realize I'll need to make a System Shock 2 video at some point. I always got the sense if someone only played System Shock 2 because they're hyped up about Shodan, they would come out kind of disappointed. Because good writing and scary voices there, but not a lot of elements. No constant torment. 2 already had a great villain, the Gigabrain and army of jelly people. With some fairly minor story elements, you could remove Shodan's presence from that game entirely and not change it that much. You have plenty of other characters to work with. But you can't have System Shock 1 without Shodan. She's indispensable. Going to the end of the game in her HR Giger nightmare is pretty damn tense. It's not actually as hard as engineering, but you don't know what to expect. You have to fight your way into Shodan's core room, and finally, after all these hours, you're faced off against your problem. How do you kill her? Yeah, the final battle's in cyberspace. You've got to shoot a big—
Oh man, that fucking sucks.
carrot before an evil light bright is finished drawing. Once again, it makes sense thematically, but as far as the gameplay goes, this sucks. I won't make you watch the whole thing. You get her, and you stay a little punk the whole time. You go through all that and still want to stay a hacker. Old habits die hard. System Shock is still an excellent game. I had a lot of fun playing it and would look forward to returning to it. Many of the barriers stopping people from playing it are gone. However, even with all the fixes and enhancements, it's still going to be a learning curve. Some things will never stop being awkward, and you've definitely played more responsive games. Still, after dark negotiations with the Polish Information Network, System Shock 1 and 2 will be at their highest discount ever. You can get each for $2 on GOG from the pinned comment. But we're not done yet. I still have time to talk about the remake demo. I mean, the Gothic remake looked so...
Oh, god damn it.
Oh, I forgot that shit existed. Damn.
Let's just see what the damage is. I have lots of good news. Put simply, they get it. Originally I thought the...
Yeah, from what I seen, the remake, like the final release of the remake was fucking excellent.
Remake would be so different that it would warrant a second video. Well, that plan wouldn't work out because this is shockingly close to the original game. The demo's an entire level, but I got through it faster than expected. Because I've just been here a few times. Some things are moved here and there, and it's a lot prettier, but I know this place. What really bled through is just how much the developers love the original game. Some are veterans of the Shock series. The guy who made those Bioshock Infinite concepts is on board. If you just look at the original map and compare it to the demos, they're a near identical copy. It's a true remake, not just a reboot in name only. The goal is the same as it ever was. Break all of Shodan's nice things. It's honestly surreal playing something where the design is this intact from the original. You start with the same biomods, including that thing again, which you instantly turn off again. You have the same main resources and need to make the same main decisions. Yet, not everything is a one-to-one copy. Obviously, it now plays like a video game compared to a tank or an operating system, though the old inventory has been replaced with grid management, and consumable items like System Shock 2. It's a change that feels natural. It already happened once, it's for the best. A lot of the combat is placeholder, which is good because this little pipe jab here is silly. It's on the right track, it feels decently satisfying as is. My big worry are the healing and drug animations, which I hope are placeholder. They take as long as the Wheel lived, which is bafflingly long for what it is. I wouldn't mind if it happened the first time you ever applied a new drug or item or whatever, but this happens every single time, and I've died a few times doing it. Because the med patches still heal over time like in the first game, but they don't activate instantly now. So I hope that's also temporary.
Weird.
There are going to be less weapons, which automatically sounds like a bad thing, but a lot...
So that's why he didn't So that's why he didn't actually cover the remake. Or at least I assume like Mandalore didn't cover the remake. I'm gonna look that up in a second.
System Shock 1 was redundant. What is here has had some slight alterations, so we'll have to wait and see. Also, you have to use the compass and automap at the same time now, and I really don't want the compass. It was pointless clutter in the first game, and things haven't changed here. The minimap is fine, so I hope those are separated again. Then we have the no-brainer step up, which is the visuals. Compare the old mutant to the new mutant. It stalks on the hallway, its eyes reflect light. A lot has changed in 25 years. It's really amazing to go to this old window in the original. Not much to see. Then in the remake, you have this enormous view of
Man, we just talked about this. Fuck. At least the levels themselves are still claustrophobic.
Pattern, but only sometimes. It's a spinning space station and the lights and shadows from the windows reflect that. They move in real time. It's a very pretty game, and what additions that have been put in feel natural. Shortcomings have been made up for and then some, but it never forgets the roots of the game it's trying to be. I enjoyed my time with it. It's faithful and it's fun. That said, I have two main worries. Let's take a walk.
Let me give me a second. I need to check what my cat is destroying. I will be right back. Okay, I am back. This song. Oh, yeah, and in the meantime, I checked, and yeah, Mandalore didn't make a review of the remake, which is a shame, but yeah, from what he said, and I watched, because I was interested in it when it came out, I watched a review from Actman, I believe, or that other guy, I forgot what the fuck he's called. But there is like one channel, I keep forgetting his name, who reviews FPS games specifically, a lot of them. So, and they said the remake is fucking great, and pretty much like Mandalore also said here, it's so faithful you don't really need to review it, because he would echo a lot of the same sentiments. Like even in that review, I remember they were complaining about the maze-like design of the game, because it's a thing from back then, you know. The devs just kind of ported those levels into the remade them in the remake, but like very faithfully, so they are still maze-like in nature. This reminded me, if you want to see the best worst voice acting ever, look up Chaser. It's a video game. The main character there is like a brain damaged sci-fi cowboy. What the hell? I will check that out later. But first, let's finish this video real quick. I think I know what he's gonna say. Yep. Yeah, the review I saw specifically mentioned that he had the same complaint about the demo, that there was no music and stuff, but that's fixed in the final game. Like, the final game has actual music.
Can you see the issue? It's not the different music, that wouldn't be too fitting here. It's not the 451 in blood like we're playing Dead Space either. Blue. Dabba dee dabba die. Most areas are so
okay. That's different.
Blue and dark that they blend together more than System Shock 1 ever did. You can't appreciate all the different surfaces because it's too dark. And blue. It's everywhere, and even the rooms look like they should be a different color, still have that blue. It makes areas blend together in the worst ways the original did. Turning down post-processing didn't save me either, it just made things darker. Tying into this is my second fear of following things too closely just for the sake of following them. See how this light switch lit up a pretty big corner? You don't really need it, but I feel safer. Well, that same light switch made it in too. It lights much less, and in this new environment, it's just kind of silly. I guess my humble advice to Night Dive, besides curtailing the blue, was don't follow things too closely. I adore how authentic this all is, but you'll never make the purists happy.
I don't remember. I don't. Yeah, I was about to say, and now I see the comment. Does the final game also have so much blue? I don't remember. I know that for a fact they took a lot of feedback from the demo and fixed it in the final game, but I don't remember if the game is so dark.
Happy. They're already angry at me for using mouse look and implying that Shodan might have been a showman. I like what you're adding to the place. I trust you. Don't feel bound to have every light switch. It's a free demo, so check it out and wishlist it if you like it. Or go on the forums and complain about the severe lack of skeletons. I'll see you next time.
Can't use skeleton. I'm assuming he had copyrighted music here because the music like suddenly cut right the fuck off.
Or concrete or whatever else fell on my feet, so yeah, I have, but it would usually be the customers that hurt my head the most. Okay, that's it for now. Wait, what was the grow for?
This video today is sponsored by...
Oops. We are not going to be watching Signalis review today, sadly. Yeah, I do wonder if they like
light switch
fix the lightning issue. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching and joining me. Not much to say about this video other than, goddamn, I really wanna play that fucking remake right now. And I might actually do that because I don't think the game is like too long, so I can probably squeeze it somewhere into my schedule, probably. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. And yeah, I'm also gonna wrap up the stream because the throat is getting a little bit, it's acting up a little bit. It's not terrible, but I don't want to strain it, obviously. Yeah, overall, I loved the two suggestions you guys made for the new reactions. Those two videos were fucking hilarious. Probably gonna put some, first of all, probably gonna stream in a week. It's either gonna be Tuesday or Wednesday. As always, those are like the two main days I stream in. Unless like something happens and I need to make a change, but I always like at least the day before I make the stream, schedule the stream. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys hopefully as always in the next one. And